going, everybody? My name is Jeff Lewis. I'm a professional photographer, and I brought a bunch of stuff today. So after, if we take a break, feel free to come up and ask me questions and check out some cameras and stuff like that. But it's fun to see some familiar faces. So the talk is going to be kind of similar to the last one that we did, but I have a couple like cool little updates and stuff like that on different projects and everything. So we can go ahead and get right into it here. So this is like a little intro page here, but this is some cool shots. So I have like all these like different clients and everything for shooting that earn the money, but this is like the real passion is shooting just fun surf stuff. So every time I'm going somewhere and there's some good waves or something, I always just like throw the drone in the car below the seats, make sure it's covered. So, you know, no one's peeping into your car, but that's where this shot is from, kind of looking south in La Jolla. But I'll start off with the old intro here. My name's Jeff Lewis. I'm a professional drone pilot. I studied at San Diego State is kind of where I got my start. I shot for the student newspaper. So that's kind of how I got in, kind of similar to this. It kind of gives you access to like a lens closet. McKay just showed me your guys' closet that's just full of every kind of drone and cool equipment that you kind of never really have access to. So that's what was my favorite part about it, because I think I bought a old Canon 7D at the time, and then I had access to every lens, every little thing. That was even before kind of drones were a thing. But that was my number one kind of niche into getting in. It just like gives you access to everything, and then they kind of send you out on all these different projects. So I was shooting like concerts and basketball games and sports, and then occasionally they had like other little articles where you have to kind of get someone and make a fake little cover shot, like type it in the library or stuff like that. But it's kind of led me down the road to everything I do now. But so yeah, I've been applying all those video and photo skills now to all my businesses and all my clients. But it was always just kind of on the photo end back in those days. And since pretty much COVID, I had always messed around with video and done projects a lot, but video kind of really took a leap for clients asking for a little photo, a little video with both projects. And then it's kind of cool because it kind of offers you an opportunity to kind of double your packages. So if you're shooting photo, now you're shooting video too, which is a whole nother editing post workflow. So that was kind of a cool thing. And the drone is amazing for video and getting like some good establishing shots. So it comes in really handy with that. But oops, let's get this back going. So kind of my couple of my niches have been in real estate. That's really what kicked off a lot of the photo and video was during COVID, because a lot of these, I shoot a lot for a builder in La Jolla, and they build these big, beautiful homes. And that's when real estate was going absolutely crazy. So they hired me to do a bunch of progress photos of their all of their projects, from like scraping it to the ground to pouring the cement, all the way to the perfect like finished project. So that was fun. And also the surfing's kind of the passion one. Never made much money off of the surfing photos, other than one photo I'll show you guys later was my most popular surfing photo. Is actually during COVID, and there was a big paddle out in Pacific Beach for one of the protests. But it's a cool shot. It's looking straight down. It's in here after a couple slides, but there's like got to be like 400 surfers all in this one shot looking straight down. And it was a cool shot, and I'll tell you guys the story about it too, because there was drones all over the place. You can see the video clip like going up. You pass like 3 drones because it's all in everyone's kind of in a circle, so everyone's trying to kind of get that shot. So that's a good visual observer lesson, because you got to have eyes out there looking for all these other drones to make sure you don't hit each other. But yeah, I'll talk about a little bit of the style and the approach and how I'll think about like shooting a project. When it comes to shooting photo and video, it kind of gets a little like repetitive. So usually what I'll do for stuff like that is I'll kind of line up a shot, get the photo, and then as you're kind of commuting over to the next angle, I'll flick it into video mode, which is great on the drones because it's so easy to switch back and forth. So I'll flick it into video mode, and then you'll kind of get your cool panning shots, other shots like that, get to your new spot, back into photo, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But and then we'll talk about like social media and how managing your social media can be a good tool to just kind of have something to show your clients and just kind of stay relevant, showing people stuff. So at the end of our talk, we'll give a quick little lesson on how to like shoot a couple clips, power up your phone, and then with the DJI app, you can download that and then download those couple clips straight to your phone. And I'll show you really quick how you can just use the tools in your phone to crop it, vertical, pick the spot you want, tidy it up, just all within the photo app. And then when you go into social media, you can easily just click like 4 clips. It puts it all together as one. And then you can add like some music or anything like that. And that's a really cool, just kind of like hack shortcut to posting some stuff that's kind of cool. Because a lot of stuff that we shoot, it's so easy just to put it on your phone right away. And once you like gotta go home and pull out the memory card and take out the battery and then fire up a project and start a whole new thing, it kind of turns it into a whole nother beast. So it keeps it a little more bite-sized, which is great, and it keeps it quick, which everyone in the photo world knows what I'm talking about, because every client, like, they want it now. So it's nice to have a little something, like just to give them a little bit so they can feed on that, and then you can go home and take your time on like another big edit. And I use Final Cut Pro. But we'll talk a little bit about that. And then yeah, we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll do some little Instagram stuff like that. But so this is like our little starting slide. So my advice to kind of becoming a professional and getting some jobs or finding people that need stuff is just gain experience like any way you can. Like on the weekends, I just go fly the drone and take pictures of anything that might look cool. I'm always kind of like by the water and filming like right now. I know there's like a bunch of like the little leopard sharks and like La Jolla and stuff like that because it's springtime. So those are kind of fun to shoot, like top-down shots, and you can get stuff that you can't kind of anywhere else. But I always just take any job or anyone that might be like, think anything's relevant. You can go take a pictures of like some hotels by the beach and tag them in a little post, and then they kind of see it, and it all kind of helps tie things together. But I just like experience, and then you just kind of learn all the tools inside and out, so that when it's time to do it, you can just kind of get out there and you turn the drone on, and there's no weird settings that you're like caught off guard by or anything like that. And yeah, and then it comes to like find what you like. Like I know a lot of people in our class last year were into kind of off-roading and filming stuff like that. So that's a pretty cool genre. And I just did some shoots with some Toyota influencer guys, and they're all really good at filming themselves too. So using some of the software on the drone to like, you can drag a point around you and then have it follow you automatically while you're kind of driving down a dirt road or things like that. So I'll give some examples of that and show some of those people that you can follow for maybe some inspiration. And they have pretty cool YouTube channels and stuff that you can follow. And the practice, that's just staying at it so you know all the settings, keep in contact. Oh, and then yeah, keeping in contact with all of your contacts here. I've found that like at San Diego State is where I met so many people, and so many people that are now like in the business world, and they're marketing people or they're journalism people, or they just have a brand that they're starting and they all need photos. But because we've kind of like grown up together, and I answer the phone every time they call and I answer every email, they know that like I'm dependable and that I can make some good content for them. So this just talks a little bit about our SDSU camera lenses. Oh, that was like giving access to all those. And then here I can show like a couple little examples of some San Diego State stuff. Oh, this is some newer stuff with San Diego Football Club. And then here, what do we got? Oh, so these are like some San Diego State football stuff. These get a little complicated because during you're not allowed to shoot during games, and you can't be over people. So what I've found is I get approval from like the bosses beforehand, and I will shoot off the premises of the stadium. And even though you have approval and everything, like there's a lot of just like security guards and everything that they don't know who you are or what you're doing or anything. So I've found that it's definitely nice to kind of like launch from like the perimeter and just kind of stay off to the side, so then you have a safe spot to land. There's not people walking all around. You're not making a big spectacle flying the drone and everyone's kind of surrounding you, and then you're trying to land and everyone's kind of gathered around. So I always find a spot like right on the edge where you can take off, no people, and then you can get some like really beautiful shots with all of the space that you can get. And then let me go down here. I think we got some. I always usually throw the drone shots as the first ones because they're kind of the showstoppers. But you can get like really beautiful sunsets. I think this one is actually a wide shot. So that's something you can do too. And something that I love about this drone is that it has the 3 cameras on it, like the iPhone. So before with the, I've had a bunch of different drones, but it was always about like a 35 millimeter wide camera that you're using. So if you're trying to get in close to stuff, you really gotta get down in there, and it's loud and it like makes everyone look up at it. But now that you have some of these different zoom lenses, you can really use that to kind of push into shots and be far away, not making any noise. So I think, and then also another setting is there's 3. There's the super zoom, medium zoom, and the wide. And then if you want to go really wide, there's other settings that you can go in under the panorama tab, and you can do a wide shot where it'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It sticks it all together for you. And I think that's how I got this shot here.
Were you there 2 weeks ago?
At the soccer game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you flying around the end of the game?
No, usually I fly around at the beginning. Why was there
I saw a drone close by,
Yeah, there's actually like kind of like a little competing thing because they want to give one drone ticket away because they don't want multiple drones, and rightfully so. But so I kind of got the ticket for the pregame because a lot of what I will shoot is I can show you guys is these like kind of pre parties for all of the sponsors. So I work with stadium partnerships, and their job is to team up with like Sharp and Toyota and all of these companies, and they come out and make a presence. And then my job's to kind of make them all look good and show their space and their area. And then I think this was that game. But then, so shots like this where they have like DirecTV puts this banner out, they pay a lot of money to do that. So I try to get a good shot of that for them. And that's all like pregame, no one in the stadium. So you can kind of fly over, get those shots really quick and kind of get out of there. And then you can see just a couple other shots like that. These are those shots using the zoom. So you can get different interesting angles. And these are like, this was for Alaska Airlines. They have like all this new branding kind of going on in the stadium. So I was trying to get different shots of that and also showing like the soccer field to show that like we're shooting soccer. But the drone is just the best camera for kind of the all the showstopper images. And then I think this is the last one. See if there's any good examples in here. Oh, and this is another example of like they're trying to sell different like seating areas. Like so like this is like a whole section that they're trying to sell. So the drone is such a good camera to get just a pulled back shot and show like south end of the stadium. These are the seats that are available under the Sequan Lounge, and and things like that. So I've used it for that as well. Oh, and then I think there was another good, maybe it was under this one, where you can kind of use it to show the different seating setups. Yeah. Oh yeah, so things like this. And I'll go into Photoshop and just make like a little line that help kind of like show the section for people. But these are all drone shots, like top down, and then side views to show just anything I can do to like help them sell whatever it is that they're trying to do. So that's one thing I like to talk about with all my clients too, is like figure out what it is their job is so that I can do whatever I got to do to make them succeed. So in this case, I said I worked with the brand partnerships, and they're all talking with the people from Scripps and all that. So I'll go around to all those spots, make them look good. But then for this particular game, these guys sell season tickets. So I talked with him and I was like, all right, so what sections of the stadium are you trying to sell? What can we do to make it look good? And I have him like walk around, show me every little section so that when I fly the drone around later, I know like that's the section that I need, so I know what angles to get. And then when I send him over all the photos, he has what he needs. And then you get to poke in the sweets and make it all look just opulent and delicious. And then I get on the ground to shoot some shots to show like a little bit more the field view. And then I also go in with people. They always like it with people too, because these brands pay a lot of money to get all this stuff in there, and they want to see people having fun and recognizing their brand and using it. Come on in. All right, let's get back to the slideshow here. Okay, yeah, so this kind of touches back on a couple of the things we talked about earlier, working for the Daily Aztec, kind of learning to get all your settings figured out and everything like that. For the drone, as far as like camera settings go, I will figure out what kind of quality I want to shoot. Usually I shoot in 4K, either 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second to get a little technical. But other than that, I'll just turn it on auto exposures, and it's kind of doing all that for me, because when you're flying the drone, there's so much going on and you're just looking at shots to compose that I've kind of found that it's too much to think about like your aperture and your shutter speed. And if it'll take care of all that for you, I haven't found any problems with just using the complete automatic settings on the photo side of things, and then on the video side of things too. Once you tell it what size photos you want like the raw image and you want 4K 60 frames a second, that's good enough for me. And then I'll let it do all the other stuff. And we'll talk about some of the other like little drone settings that we can dig into as well. But this kind of talks about, yeah, just keeping your contacts, and when you guys do you guys do editing as well? For what programs are you guys using?
So what we kind of teach here is Premiere.
Okay.
And then coming up, they'll do a little bit of 360 stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then, the way I kind of phrase it for the class is I tell them what they need to get the project done.
Right.
We have like a whole nother department that goes into Premiere and every little bell and whistle.
Oh, cool. So are you guys using the Insta360 app to process 360 videos? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I brought that too, and then I brought the selfie stick to go with it, which is kind of fun. And the 360 cameras get videos. I'll show you guys a couple videos. I got one like right here while we're on it. But they get the coolest videos, and it almost looks like a drone, but just because it's following you, and the longer stick you use, the more drone-like effect you can get out of it. I'll see if I can just go to my Instagram here. I thought I had a tab up. But I've had a lot of fun using these drone cameras. I actually got a great deal on it because the editing is pretty difficult for like it's not like a normal camera where you kind of get all your footage and then you come and it's ready to go. You film in like a sphere, so you kind of have to edit before you can edit. You got to pick what in that shot on like the 360 editing app that you want to use, and then you can go from there. But I actually just used. Oh, this is a good sample. We were just up in Mammoth, and I just did a ton of filming with my phone, my Insta360, and the drone. And this was just kind of a fun little like Instagram reel that I just threw up just for fun. But oh, do we have sound or no? Oh, but this is a good example of the Insta360 on the stick. You can see the shadow like kind of coming down right here. And usually you can never tell because it'll stitch the stick out until you start getting into shadow situations, and then you can usually see the shadow.
Is it off on the bottom? Yeah, you see the icon on the actual post?
Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, perfect. Yeah, so I'll run through this video maybe really quick, and then I can pause it at a couple spots to show how I got some of these different clips.
I don't know if you want me to fiddle with the audio or just keep moving.
Yeah, we can just keep moving. It's all good. But so that clip is a drone time lapse. Some of these are phone, AI. This is a Insta360 shot. That's an Insta360 shot. That's an iPhone shot. iPhone. And you can just make cool little reels just with a combination of stuff like that. But I can play this again really quick and pause it on certain shots. So this a drone. That's a drone too, using speed ramps. So that's a cool little effect that you can do, and I'll show you some real estate stuff where you use that, where you'll do one big smooth flying motion, like right here I'm going across this lake, and then you slowly bring it up to like reveal this. This is called hole in the wall. It's a cool little like chute you can ski down. But the biggest thing with that is just keeping your drone movement smooth. So a lot of times I'll use, there's all these different modes, the cinematic mode, normal mode, and sport mode. Sport mode I rarely use because it's so fast and twitchy that it's hard to get these kind of smoother shots. So unless I'm like commuting with the drone, like going from here to there, I just need to kind of zip over there, I'll throw it in sport mode. It uses a ton of battery too, so I like to kind of keep that in mind. But then for a shot like this, I'll put it in the cinematic mode, and what it does is it slows everything down. It slows the drone down so the max speed is much slower, so that all your shots you're getting are really slow and smooth. And then in post, you can use these little speed ramps where you say, show me this shot really slow, and then you cut right there, and then you have it zip over to the next spot that it's looking. So you can get kind of like interesting shots like that. Like, let's see if I can start it over here and just show that. That's a rise, and then that's kind of zoom in, but it's quick. And then that's another shot with just this giant pole, which is cool. And then this is a kind of an interesting shot. It was like really windy this day, and you just put the drone up just from, I think, just wherever it was. It's filming wide right now, and I set it to record, and then I just kind of left it. And the drone is actually really good at staying in one particular area, even if it's windy. And then what I did was I just sped this clip up, and then you can see kind of a time lapse of the clouds kind of moving through. But the drone does have some cool time lapse features, but I've kind of found that I've just used the regular video mode and sped it up later. And then you have both. Like if you ever wanted to use just the regular clip of it, or if you want to speed it up. And sometimes I've found on the time-lapse stuff, it'll do a photo like once every second, and that it's a long time. So then in the end, even if you have the drone in the air filming for like 2 or 3 minutes, it feels like an eternity when you're on the ground. You say, okay, and then your clip is like that quick, and you can't really adjust it. So it's kind of nice to do that. And then also there's an effect on this where, because I filmed wide, I then cropped it to vertical, but it always wants to stay in that vertical crop. But on different programs like Premiere, and I use Final Cut, you can use this effect where it pans across that wide image that you've done. So that's what this is doing. And it's kind of moving from left to right. And then that's a good shot of like what you can get with these 360 sticks. I'll pause it right there really quick too. There's that panning shot. And then this shot is usually, I think there's like 2 of these poles that I have usually. And this one, I usually just put it in a backpack, but this one is pretty cool because it's light and it's so long. It can be a little difficult to hold, but if you're filming like cars or anything like that, it's so long that you can get a shot like looking back at you without like distorting it and making it look like a bubble. Because the further back you can get with a wide lens, the more true whatever it is you're looking at is going to be. So if you were to film like a car with this short one, it would only be like about right here. So the car would look kind of bulby and it wouldn't have like straight lines. So that's where this kind of pole comes in. And then I just wanted like to see if I could get a really, really wide shot, kind of drone-like following you coming down here. So that's what I was testing out with that. But we'll move on. A little bit about Final Cut. Oh, and then this is always like an interesting thing, like talking about different pricing and stuff for different type things. So what I've kind of found with different companies and different brands, like they all have different budgets and different things that they need. So I always find a way to say yes, even if it's cheap or if it's a big deal, because little things, they just like keep adding up, and then you're the person that they use all the time now, and then maybe you can like raise your rates a little bit like incrementally and get to a spot where you would like really like to be. But when I was first kind of starting, if they needed just like a drone shot, this is like a friend who just needs like 10 drone photos. In like if they're a real estate agent, they have a little spot, so I can go out, fly the drone, get all the different little angles for them. You get a top down to show the whole property lines, all the different little other angles. And then usually I have a lot of friends in real estate too, so I would charge them like 100 to 200 bucks when I was kind of starting out. They probably get like 15 to 20 photos. And that's for just photo. If they want like a video and stuff, usually I'll kind of just like add that as a separate project and make it a whole nother thing. And then once you get into like a little bit bigger jobs or whatever, you can start going like maybe $300, $500 range if you're getting like maybe a combination of like drone photos and then also some exterior photos with like a regular camera. And then once you get up to like some bigger jobs, you'll find that there ends up being like so much footage and stuff too. You need to like cover your editing time, which is usually takes longer than the shoot. But I've kind of found that like that's kind of a decent price point, and then like even up from there, I've had a lot of good jobs, and then also having like being able to do photo and video kind of has allowed me to double all of these things when they need a whole nother section. And that's why I want that little DJI camera has been kind of on my radar. Yeah, because I've seen they have like little mounts that you can just like put it even on your hot shoe. So kind of like while you're shooting, you'll get these like extra video clips on a gimbal with your regular camera. So even though this thing can flick in photo, video mode as well, but it's nice to not have to like be thinking double all the time, because a lot of times if you're doing photo and video by yourself, you'll go in there, get the photo, and then you'll kind of like get distracted, and then you go back to edit and you're like, I have the photo for that clip, but I didn't get like the little video clip for that. So
just as a side note, on a lot of your SLRs and mirrorless, they make the cages, and there's like a spot now for the pocket to go
Oh,
page.
oh,
So
really?
it's like just off center to like the left or the right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta find an Amazon link after this then when we're talking. Yeah, because the cages are great because then they also like have, so you can have like handles that are above on these cameras. And once you put the weight low, it makes everything so much more stable than if you're like bottom kind of balancing it. Like holding it like this just keeps it, you're using the weight of the camera to keep things smooth. So that's another little bonus of those cages. Yeah, so is there any questions on this stuff? Usually people are kind of interested in pricing and yeah.
From the previous slide, I had a question about education. So if you were to go back, since you did photojournalism at SDSU, if you were to go back to all your training and education, would you have done it again that same way, or would you have changed to just journalism, maybe film or just photography, and then learn those other skills on your own?
I think that's a good question. I think if I could go back, the good part about it was being in some of these marketing classes and meeting these people, like one of the gals from Better Buzz I met in college. And so I met like kind of those contacts in the marketing side, but I do wish that I had had more technical editing classes, like you're saying, as I was kind of coming up, because it just kind of helps you streamline your workflow, because the back end workflow is huge. Like that's kind of the unsung hero of all the pretty pictures and everything. But if actually, I can give you guys a little sneak peek to that really quick. The back end workflow is huge. So after every single project that I do, I'll come back home and I will label every single project starting out with, like these are all 11. I shot that on the 11th, the 8th, the whatever. It has the date. And then what I'll do is I edit it, I leave it on my desktop. I'll upload all the footage I got. So here's a good example. So this was for a Home Depot shoot. And what I'll do is I'll get a folder. I'll make all these different little folders in it. I'll have like Nikon Z6, Nikon Z7, iPhone, drone, dump all the footage in each one of those. And this is important, I name it with the 11 first, so that once this project is done and wrapped up, I have these all these big giant hard drives like that I just kind of use to store stuff once it's done. But I will just name it by year. So it'll say 2025, January, February, March, April, May, June. And then I think this was a March one. So then I just dump this in March, and then all of your archive is so easy to find because it's all by date, and all of these projects are organized by date. And then I also kind of have like a nice little editing queue lined up, and I know what I need to be working on first. Like this is most recent, this got to get to it. We had a couple more questions for stuff, yeah.
I know you mentioned that you have like connections with the Snapdragon Stadium crew that does like the events, or their parking or stuff like that. You said.
Right.
What happens like for first-time clients? Like, do you normally reach out to them, or do they reach out to you because of word of mouth of your work?
I've kind of gotten to the point now where a lot of it is word of mouth clients, and that's why like I'm so big on like keeping your friends and making all the jobs you do, just do it and deliver quick and answer every email and be responsible and let them feel good. And then they're so happy to just pass your name along to anyone that they want to recommend, or because that's kind of it ends up being a small world. Like they all know each other, they all work with each other for whether it's Snapdragon or the way I got the Snapdragon job is because I used to shoot for the Chargers a long time ago when they were in San Diego, and I think I was friends with the girl who was in charge of stadium partnerships, but then all these years down the road, that girl recommended me to the Snapdragon girl, and it just goes from there. So all those little connections and just being able to deliver goes a really long way. But there was a couple more, yeah?
When it wasn't word of mouth jobs before, where were you like getting those jobs? Were you like going to something for the like job postings or like staff me up or something? Like where were you headed to?
Yeah, like I found that like on Craigslist, and then even like Craigslist and stuff like that, like they have a bunch of like listings and stuff like that. But then also like I would recommend like going through your own personal like feed of people that you already have contacts with, and maybe it's like a real estate person or, and just like go in flicking through all your friends with like in the back of your head like what could I do to like help this person's business or make them look cool with what I'm good at, because then you're like reaching out to all these people kind of within your network and helping them out, and they're always a lot more like happy to get back to you too. But yeah, for some of the other stuff, I've found it's a little cold though. So like you'll get a lot of misses, like just reaching out cold. But if you're going off like your own feed of friends, I've found that that is by far like the most successful way to kind of build and build and build, because you already have like kind of a reputation with them, and then you can offer them a test shoot or things like that just to kind of get your foot in the door and show them what you can do and kind of establish your worth to them. So that's what I would recommend for that. Yeah.
Do you ever pay on Instagram to get your posts, like to reach out more people outside your?
Yeah. I have for I have a couple different Instagrams. This one that I was showing was more for fun stuff, but I have a wedding Instagram as well that I have paid for, just to kind of get further reach. But kind of what I've found from that, how do I get to that one? I don't know if I can get to that one.
On
Oh, profile. Yeah.
more, like under more, you can go switch.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, there. Oh, switch appearance. Yeah, I'll show you guys that side of thing. Oh, switch accounts. There it is. Oh shoot. Well, I can just punch it in actually. Well, it doesn't matter either way. But
I was just wondering to see if this works, because I did
yeah.
once and I did get one client. I'm like, okay, I got back my investment.
Right.
In the long term, it's like actually like good to keep doing it, or
Yeah, I think.
be like more in hashtag and stuff.
Yeah, I think for some of the wedding stuff that I've done, I've noticed that it was okay. It wasn't amazing. I I also like didn't put my heart and soul into kind of like the marketing end of it. I I would recommend maybe doing that, not spending a fortune on it, but just kind of getting a little broader reach. I'm not too up to speed on how like the algorithm like is working now, but one thing that I've found is like very successful is like I'll like for example I'll go like take videos of people surfing at the pier, and then like you if you maybe know those people, or you like introduce yourself like when they're walking back up, you're like, oh hey, like I got a cool shot of you, like what's your Instagram handle? And then you're getting like just kind of organic people seeing your stuff, and then you tag them in the shot, and then they'll share it for you, and then if you did it for 3 people, they all share it. So then you're like kind of using that direct connection like with people, and they want to share it because it's a photo of them and they think it's cool, and then their friends see it and maybe a couple other people. So what kind of stuff are you into shooting?
I've been doing portraits, like birthday portraits,
Oh, cool.
quinceañeras, and couples. I would like to get more into weddings, but I feel like it's kind of hard to get into wedding without previously have a wedding. Like, I cannot tell people I take good pictures and then they're like trusting me their wedding. Like,
Right. Yeah, that like that's a good example. Like if you had like a beach session or something, I gotta get on my wedding page here. But if you had like a beach session or something, I've done photos where you'll like do it from above and you like draw a big heart in the sand and do something that like looks really cool, like looking down. You kind of get a wave going by, and that was just a regular portrait session that I did. But I was like, you know what, these guys are cool. It's a good situation. I'll throw the drone in the car, and like at the end, once you have everything that they were paying you for that they want, I'm like, hey, let's do a little bonus shot if you guys are down. And they always love it. It's always a cool thing. Then you can like launch the drone, do that, get a interesting shot. Like this was a wedding shot that I got. that was similar to that, where they had this cool car, and I didn't promise anything. They didn't like pay for the extra drone package or anything, but I had it. I knew they were a good looking couple. I knew they were gonna have like a cool car. I was like, you know what, maybe I can like whip something out of this. So this is a shot, and then this shot ended up doing really well because I think this is taken at the Hyatt by yeah, it was like the Hyatt by Torrey Pines, I think. But yeah, I had a good looking couple, and then I don't even think there's that many drone shots of them in here. There's like, I think I might have just done that one drone shot, but that ended up being the hero shot. The hotel ended up wanting that shot because kind of exactly what I did was I posted that shot, you tag the hotel, you tag the people both in it, so they're both posting it. And then also another huge thing is when you're out like doing photos, like a lot of these like football games or weddings or whatever, I'll just start an iPhone note that says like Snapdragon game this day, or wedding, this person's wedding. And you're doing photos of all these people. And I hate that people don't get your photos, like, because no one shares the link or whatever it is. So I'm like, just give me your email really quick. I just punch it into a note. And then once I upload this gallery, I just start an email, copy every single email address I have in there, just paste it into the two, and I'm like pretty informal with it. I'm just like, great meeting you. Here's the thing. It doesn't take much time, but then boom, you have all these pictures, and then like even it's like bridesmaids and whatever, but that's like gold because you have all their contact information. You send them it. It's like your resume right here. They're like, just see all the photos you took. They're like, that was fun. Like those photos look good. That was done in a pretty decent time frame. I'm gonna call them. And then that leads to another job. And then I've had couples where I've shot like the entire bridal party's weddings, like years apart. So that was a pretty good, that's definitely a hot tip, because it's like the best marketing tool you could ever have. Like everyone wants photo of themselves, and that's your job. So then you just like get all these emails everywhere you go. And I actually just started using this, it's called Pick Time, but it's pretty cool because it gives you all these like back end analytics so that you can see who's downloading what photo, and they punch their email in, and it's just kind of cool because then I get all these like little email updates, like seeing what photos people liked and like what they downloaded. And it's not really rocket science. Like they just all want the pictures of themselves. I spend all this time editing all these like crazy photos that I think are all beautiful, and not one download. It's like they'll download like this one or that one before they, like in a dark room or something, before they download any of those. But I'll show you guys another cool, this is like when you get into like all the portraits and stuff like that. But let me get to those drone ones, because I've been using some AI a lot, actually. There's actually a new, it's called Imagine AI. And I've been using it for weddings. It'll cull your photos for you, and it will also edit them for you. I found that the culling is a little bit off. Like sometimes it might pick one where their eyes are closed, and it's decent, but then you kind of have to go back and review. So it's almost just faster to click through, make all your picks. But then once you've made your picks, I've found that it's amazing for editing all of the photos. And so what you'll do is are you guys using Lightroom or stuff like that? Like that's what I use.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll make all those picks in Lightroom, and I'll have like a gallery of 800 photos once I've narrowed it down, because I think you end up having to pay like 5 cents a photo. So a whole wedding ends up being like $40 to edit. And I used to edit weddings back in the day for photographers around town, and when I was in college, and I think I was getting like $300 back then. But now, that's one of those AI jobs that disappeared. But it's great because what it does is it just goes in, it'll crop the photo, straighten the photo, correct the color balance, and that's huge. Because if you think about going through 800 photos, like that's photo one, click, 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 click. That's like 10 clicks per photo. If you can save that many clicks, I think it makes my stuff so much better, because then I can go in and spend time like removing stuff or making like, images much better rather than just being burned out on 8 hours of editing just with these little crops and clicks. And if it's going to do that for you, you just go through the gallery after it's done. And I just browse. I'm like, brighten that one up a little bit. And it's just little things here and there. But that's called Imagine AI. I highly recommend that. And then this is a shot. I wish I had the before too. But this was like just kind of, there was like, I remember we were trying to bust this out really quick. I had a drone in the air. It's aiming straight down. And there's like cocktail tables. Like it was like right here. There's like a napkin right here. There's all this other junk in the shot. But then with all these new AI tools, what I'll do is, now that I'm looking back on it, this was kind of my first AI experiment I did. But you can see where it does weird things sometimes. I think what I did for this one is I kind of cleaned up the area, and then what you do, and I think I used Photoshop for this, but you'll just highlight like this corner, select this corner, select this corner, and you'll say, add little white, all the flowers are fake. So you're like, add little white flowers with some greenery. And then it's like, poof, and it gives you one option. And then you're like, no, try this. Look, I can do one really quick, actually. You could probably just go download. Have you guys been messing with AI stuff at all, or you guys got any AI questions? Or I'll whip this into Photoshop really quick, and you can just see like a quick example of like how I would do something like this. So I would take this shot, I would just drag it here, open.
It's a little complicated for the students because when they're here on campus, they have a student account for Adobe.
Oh, I see, I
but
see.
The student account doesn't automatically have because the AI is like a plugin.
Oh, I
so,
see.
Like, it's not included in the student account. So
right.
Their personal accounts, they can access the AI features
right.
With the image generation. But if you're on the student account, you don't have access to it.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
Just to clarify to everybody what's the.
Well, and there's also like, I know Instagram, like on stories, I think they might have disabled it, but for a while you could like take this photo on your phone and then it would magically find the car, and then you could say, add flowers around it. And that was just on Instagram app with like stories. But like a quick example of this, you can just go like, let's take that little top part, and then you're like, let's add this little section here. Make sure you don't get her foot because it'll do weird things. I've actually gotten busted for that before too. I had this photo recently where I think it was like a group photo, and there's this big ugly podium, and everyone's like this. And I took out the podium, but then it adds like fake legs and fake bottom of your dress and everything. And it looked decent enough. Like, I always include both just in case, like, so they have both if they don't want the AI version, but I didn't look close enough and like added a finger to like one of the guys, and then like one of the ladies' hands, like it was like a little funny, but they noticed right away. I'll tell you that, because that was my little quick learning lesson. But yeah, so for something like this, once you get those like little spots highlighted, you can just say like, add ice cones and red. And like, I've found like this is like pretty hit and miss in Photoshop right now. Photoshop is like kind of pretty weak on AI, I would say. Like, I've been using ChatGPT a lot more, and it seems to be a lot more like dependable and look decent. But I'm trying to figure out like different things in the prompts, you know? And then, so it'll always give you 3, and then you can generate a few more, and you can see if you're like having issues. Like, if I would have selected the car, it'd probably do weird stuff on the fender. But then you just have it like crank out a few more options, and then you're like, make it like that. But like, it's not really giving us ice creams. But
it's a little funky because you get it's like a credit system. So you get like, I'm just throwing out a number. I think it's like 40 credits a month.
right.
And so like, if you like try like 10 things and you're not quite there, you feel like you're on, but you hit that 40th credit, you're like, like I can't use it until the first of the month.
Exactly.
So.
I know. I've run into that a few times on ChatGPT because it's so fun to mess with, and you just keep asking. It's like, now you gotta fork it over. So, any questions on AI stuff? Yeah.
So on the AI thing, yeah, with Adobe, you're attached to their AI machine, which is in the cloud, and That sucks. Another program out there, Affinity, which is like $50 one-time fee.
Uh-huh.
It's yours forever. It now has an AI tool that's local built inside of it.
Oh, nice.
So now it's like, yeah, credits be damned. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that. Don't like that.
And you can do as many as you want.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And you own that machine, that learning tool.
Right.
There. So you're building your own AI
Oh, right.
portfolio.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've noticed on that same note with like editing those full wedding galleries, you can upload, like once you finish a bunch of different projects, you can upload all of your past work in the form of like a catalog, which is all the settings and everything like that. And you have to upload a bunch of stuff for it to like fully learn you, and it still doesn't even really work that good. But I've done that recently, so it learns like all your little tendencies and tweaks. Like usually he does this, so it assumes stuff about you, so that when it goes to edit all your wedding photos, it knows that usually I kind of like tweak the greens and make the greens like not so bright and do a little softening and things like that. So I found that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think that was the only drone shot even from. But that one drone shot is totally worth pulling out the drone, because the drone's just always kind of the hero photo. But anyways, we'll get back to the where we were here. Any other questions about yeah?
So I know you said you worked with the media aspects, and so you're familiar a whole bunch with the editing and the whole camera work. But when you were starting up with the drones, was most of your starting work trial by fire, or did you shadow anyone who was actually more experienced with the drone work, or how did you do that?
Most of my drone stuff kind of started. I always had the drone pre 2020. I think I had it for a couple years prior, but wasn't really using it super seriously. And then during COVID, actually, I started making all these videos where it was when everything was shut down. So it was pretty cool that everything was just quiet everywhere. And then I think I have some samples here, but I just kind of went around on my own figuring out like all the different settings in situations where you're just filming like empty beaches and stuff like that, where it's not important, you know, like you didn't miss the shot for some client. And I figured out just all the different little tweaks and settings and how to do the video and everything like that. I think I have a lot of photos in here from that. Freedom. Yeah, there's a lot of. For what's that?
How many batteries do you use?
This guy I got 3, and with this new drone, it's pretty good with 3. That'll last me pretty much all day. It's like, I would say like 30 minutes per thing. And I'll always be like mindful too, like when I'm shooting stuff that's like this type of stuff or like this type of stuff, like I'll keep the drone in a spot. It's like if you're waiting for like a wave to come by, and just like hover, and that uses like as least amount of battery as you could. So if you're not like going up and down and like doing stuff to drain battery and on sport mode and stuff, you can really kind of stretch that battery life by just kind of like hovering if you're waiting for stuff to happen or whatever. So that's a little tip for that. And then also, I got another little hot tip for battery stuff, like 20% might as well be 0. Like it's like, because I've gotten into a few spots where I think I was at the Colorado River, and I'm shooting stuff, and you're on the other side of the river, and this was when I was kind of starting with the wind not working with me, and then all of a sudden you hit 20% battery life. I'm like, all right, let me see if I can get this one more shot, waiting for some boat to go by, and then you're like in a position where you're going against the wind, separated by a body of water, trying to get the drone coming back, and it goes down so fast, like 20 to 13 to 6 to like it barely made it back to the beach, landing by itself. And I was like, oh my God, that's the last time I mess with 20%. So 20% is 0% in my world. What I'll do usually is I'll do, like when I'm planning like a flight, like for stuff like this, like I think this was like for a house or something. And but what I'll do is when I have full battery life, I'll kind of plan my flight in my head. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go as far away as I'm gonna go for this flight initially when you have full battery life and you're safe. You get these shots, you know, you get all these like pulled back, nice shots, and then you kind of bring it back in. I think I have a bunch of, there's somewhere in here I can scroll. But by doing that, you just kind of like hedge your bets and you're not pushing your luck because like, it's such a cool camera. Last thing you want to do is like lose it some way. And so what I'll do is I'll do all these far away shots. And then if it's like for a house or something like this, I'll do all those far away and then you bring it in, you get all these close shots. And then if it's 20%, it's like from here to there, no big deal. And you just bring it in and you can, that way you can kind of milk that 20% if like it's nearby. But any other questions on any of that stuff? Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of these works you're doing for clients, but like if you're doing like maybe like the fun or more like other type projects, how much permission slips or whatever you say, do you normally request from people around so that you can do your flight as unbothered as possible? Or is there always someone who still bothers you saying, oh, what's that drone doing up there despite your pre-permission?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. Because like what I'll do usually all the stuff that I film is just kind of like near the beach around like La Jolla, Pacific Beach. So it's all like legally you're allowed to fly there. And one other thing I've noticed though is same thing for like shooting at the football stadiums and everything is like you don't need to be in the middle of the action on the beach to like launch the drone and still be able to see it. You can easily go like off to like some side street where you can still see everything, but there's nobody around, it's quiet. And usually what I'll do is I'll like have my car right there and I'll even like put it on the roof of my car, just go straight up and out of there. And then you're getting all your shots, but you're not bugging anyone. You're not sitting there with it hovering, like standing in a group of people, like causing a scene. Like I'm like hiding in the side and you're like, and we have the drone and you pull it out and you're like, doot, 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 wing, you know, and then you're going and you're not bugging anyone because I have been, like, there's a couple like little surf spots around here with all these like bougie houses and you're like hovering in front of some lady's yard on a Sunday morning and they're like, get that thing out of here. So I'm like definitely mindful of that because it's just nicer to not have to go there. So I always just find any like corner with nobody off the beaten path and try that out. But yeah. So any other, yeah.
On your equipment, do you keep buying new stuff or you just keep whatever, if it works, you just keep it for a few years?
Yeah, I found that I always keep all my stuff and then I don't usually upgrade or do anything like that until I see like a very obvious reason. Like with this camera, the obvious reason was that it has 3 different lenses. And I'm like, that's massive because once you have like those different zoom lenses, it just opens up a whole new world of shots. Cause I think I had the Mavic 2. And then once I got this one, I realized like with those 3 cameras, you can get just different shots. Like here, I'll show you this. But one of these cool shots, I'll show you it, but I'll explain it really quick. Or actually I'll play it and you can kind of see what we're doing. So this is the wide lens. That's the zoom lens. And you can get these like reveal shots when you can zoom. And it's like a parallax where like the drone's coming up, but then you have the mountaintops kind of revealing themselves. And then that's just a wide shot pan. That's the zoom lens. That's a regular camera, regular camera, regular camera. And then this is actually way better on, I have a wide version of this. Let's play it from here.
When you tag the hotel?
Yeah, this is definitely a hotel tag. This was for the Home Depot is the client for this, and they do these trips where they just kind of schmooze the bigwigs of the company, and they took everyone to the St. Regis here in Park City. But this was just happened to be like, it had stormed 2 days, and then this was like the beautiful morning after with all fresh snow. And so I woke up at like the crack of dawn and get like all the good light. It's so worth it, even if like, I don't think we had to do anything till like 10 o'clock, but all the good shots happen early. But yeah, what do you?
You came here last year.
Right.
And I've been following you ever since.
Right.
And you're very interesting.
Oh, thank you.
Everything, and you're everywhere.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your reels.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of this stuff is stuff that you do personally, or
Right.
they invite you to do those locations.
It's a little bit of a mix. I've been kind of fortunate to travel for a couple like recent jobs, and I'll show you guys a couple of those. This spring has been kind of a good combo of work trips and fun trips, but a lot of these fun trips are like work trips too, and then they all start to kind of like look the same, because I think just what I end up liking and doing and posting, and people see that and they're like, oh, well, if we're going to Park City, we got to have Jeff come, because we're going to like be on snowmobiles and we want some cool drone shots of all the bigwigs flying. So this was a work trip, but I actually flew up there like 2 days early so I could go skiing too. But yeah, so back to your question about like the different equipment. So this newer drone with this is the Mavic 3 Pro, and this has like a polarizing filter on there. I highly recommend a polarizing filter for the drones, because usually you're just flying them during the day, and it's like putting just a pair of sunglasses that cuts all the glare, and it just gives you so much good color pop out of it. But with these 3 lenses, these are some cool different types of shots you can get. So this first shot is I think it's just the regular standard wide lens that's on all the drones. And then goes to this pan. This is just a regular, I believe, but then you're like, actually it's not. This is the medium lens, because what you can see is that I wanted this tree kind of in the foreground, but if you're using the wide lens, you have to be so close to the tree. It's sketchy. You don't want to like hit branches or whatever. So you pull it back. This is all a parking lot right here. So then you just raise the drone up nice and slow. I'm watching it. It's probably from here to the wall. And then I'm just getting the shot. Nothing sketchy, nothing dangerous with the trees, but then you can kind of get this nice rising shot. And then this is an example of what this shot is with the wide lens from down coming up, and it's kind of revealing these peaks in the background, and that's with the wide lens. And then I'll do it again with the zoom lens. Oh, I think that might be at the beginning. Yeah, and then that same shot is with the zoom lens here. So what I did was I'm like flying the drone right here in this like little canyon or whatever. With the wide lens, I go down and then I go up. And then I switch it to the zoom lens, which is this shot, and then I go down and then I go up. So that when you go and edit, you have the wide and you have the zoom to cut to. But the cool part about this drone is this zoom, because you can crop in and then like reveal like those peaks like that. And it just looks like it's the whole scene just kind of turns into a parallax shot, which is cool. And I always stick like cool little music with it. But
Were you standing in one spot for 20 minutes?
yeah, so oh yeah, freezing too, because it's like sub-zero, you know, your hands are getting numb. But yeah, totally. But you got to get those morning shots. But yeah, so that was all. That's just regular camera, probably an iPhone, honestly, that one. And then there's a couple more examples of it. Those are all the Home Depot guys. And then that's a cool example of like that parallax shot that you can get, like kind of rising up. So right here, I think I actually had walkie-talkies for this shot, because these are the tour guides. They had an extra walkie-talkie. But you can line everyone up on this like ridge line, start the drone low. It's kind of a good situation the way like the hills are all going. And then I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna rise up. And then you reveal like that whole horizon behind you, which is kind of a cool shot. And then this is just with the wide lens, kind of panning and doing like a follow. But I'm very like, I'm very careful with like every shot. I do not risk it with drone stuff because it's just not worth it to crash the drone trying to, oh, these are Insta360s too. But like some stuff you'll know, like for stuff like drone shots, like I would never do this on a drone where you're like backing up because you can't see anything. Those are the most dangerous drone shots you can ever get. What I'll do is if you are trying to get a shot like pushing back, you got to have eyes on that thing or just push forward and like reverse it later. Like I've done that where you're like flying in a garage, but you want it to look like you're flying out of the garage. And as long as you're not seeing like cars and stuff that looks weird walking backwards, like I would so much rather like fly in because you're seeing it the whole time than blindly just trying to fly out and then just reverse it later. So that just keeps you safe. But this is kind of a cool shot. I think for this shot, I had I think I have this stick in my like backpack like this, and it's just holding that little 360 camera up top. And then in post, you just kind of speed it up and turn it into a little time lapse. But that's what's so cool about this camera is that it's filming going front, it's filming in the back, so then you can like pick all your stuff later. And that's some cool little drone stuff. And then I always try to throw in like a little like hotel logos or whatever so that when you tag them, they're like, oh, hey, and they recognize all the stuff. I haven't got a call back from the St. Regis yet though, but it'd be cool if they did. And then these are all just iPhone clips because for this, this is a good example of just like how every camera is plenty good and it's fine. Because once you stick it with all this other stuff, because there was like on this, it was one day, some people went skiing, some people went on the snowmobile. So I was kind of split. So I asked like a couple of people, I'm like, hey, just get pictures on your phone, whatever. I meet them all later, airdrop it to my phone. And then you have all these shots mixed with their shots from skiing. And they were all in like live mode or I think some video. Those are all mine, but these are all like just iPhone clips. And like, you can tell it's not the best quality, but they were filmed vertical actually. And then I crop into an iPhone shot and you still get that, you know, and it's good enough for, like I wouldn't print that and hang it on the wall, but it's good enough to show the people, because that's all they care about. They want to see the people having fun, doing their different stuff. So that's like just footage and clips I just stick together, just airdropped on my phone. And then you put it back on, yeah, this is another iPhone clip, but it's like, it's dogs. People like dogs and they're cool. So, but that's just an example of how you can like, if you're stuck or whatever, you can use any camera and stick it in with like a drone shot and it looks like no one would ever even know the difference. But so that's that. And then any questions on any that type of stuff? Yeah.
Can you briefly like summarize your client workflow from the time you finish a shoot to the time you deliver a product to uploading, backing up, sending them the link to whatever?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll walk you guys through a quick one of that. So first thing I'll do is kind of what we talked about for this. So I'll have like I always do it right when I get home because I film with so many different cameras and everything that if I like just fall asleep and wake up the next day, I'm like, oh yeah, I had that camera you got to do it right then. Get all the cards out of the cameras. I pull them, I upload them all. I make a folder. So I think we had like, this is a good example. So every folder here, and I like looking at it like this. So then every folder here is all my drone files. This is all of these files and all my Nikon files. And then also what I'll do is I'll separate like the video usually. I think here they might be, yeah, so all these are photos. So when you go to edit your photos, you can tell it this folder and this folder. It knows exactly where to look for those photos. And then for video stuff, I'll put it in a separate folder. Like the drone would be like, these would be all videos. And that's hugely helpful and keeping it all in this folder. And then also, this is huge, I keep the project also in this same folder at the top because then once you take this folder, once I'm done with it or whatever, I'll move it to a hard drive once I'm through working with it. But if the catalog, which is all the little clicks and changes and edits for the photos and the videos, if that's in a different spot than all the files, it doesn't know where all the footage and stuff is. So if you keep everything consolidated in this one folder like that from the start, you're good to go. Because then I can take this folder, put it on a hard drive. It has all the footage and all the edits within this folder for that one project. So I recommend doing it this way because it makes it easy to find. You can recall stuff really easy if you need. And then it saves you hard drive space on your computer too, because a lot of times, like if you just go shoot a bunch of projects, you have all this footage, but then you have like all the edits and stuff in one other spot. And then you got to get rid of the footage because that takes up a ton of space on your computer. But once you do that, you can't edit anymore. So that's kind of my workflow for that. And then once I'm finished editing, I'll export like all the photos. And I've been using this PicTime one. I think it's like $250 a year, but it's already paid for itself because you can buy prints on it. So for like the wedding website, because people just order prints online anyways, like they'll either save them, order it at CVS or whatever, but it's so easy just to click like 10 photos you want and order, and it shows you all these different things that you can do to buy it.
When they buy prints, are you having to do with that, or is it outsourced?
That's the best part. You don't even do anything. It's just like hooked to your bank account, and it's not a ton of money you get, but it definitely adds up. I think it ended up being like a couple $1,000s last year, and I'm like, what is this number that like hit my bank account out of nowhere? And I'm like, oh, because at the end of each month, it just accumulates all this money, and then it just transfers it all in once it's a different amount. And I didn't even notice that it was like adding up to be that much. But so what I'll do, I'll go to like client galleries, I'll make a new gallery, and then so I can do it like, this will be an example of like the back end. And then also I'll throw like, once I have like the exported video or whatever, I'll put one file like in Dropbox just so it's easy, because sometimes people have trouble downloading or whatever. But for this website, you just pick a cover shot, photos and media. These are how you like make the different galleries, and you'll just go like right here, boom, ask it where it is. You've exported all your photos and videos right there, so you just upload those right there. They all populate in here. And one other cool thing about this website is that it just incorporated like video clips. So when you look at a gallery like this, you can just throw a little drone clip in there or a time lapse, and it just kind of like makes everything look nice. But this is huge. I would highly recommend, like if you're doing any kind of like weddings or anything, like delivering something that looks like this. It looks so nice, because for the longest time I just did like Dropbox links and stuff, and they're just like an ugly looking link and numbers and all this. And then when you like open the app, you can thumb through the photos, but it's not like ta-da. And this really has like a cool kind of ta-da factor, just seeing all the different stuff. But any other questions regarding any of this type stuff? Go ahead. What's that?
The name of the app?
Oh, for this, this is called PicTime. PicTime, yeah. So I actually have two different accounts. I have one for kind of more corporate-y clients, and then one for wedding clients, because there's different things you can automate on the back end too, where you can send out notifications like, it's Mother's Day, did you order like your mom's family photos? And then it sends you the link, and it's all automatic, and once the emails are in there, and that's a huge just automatic feature that I've like really loved, because it just does it for you. And your clients appreciate it too. You're not bugging them at all. You're just like, hey, check this out, your photos, remember? And they're like, oh yeah. And then they can like click on stuff, buy it. It comes right to them, just like Shutterfly would or anything. I think it's around the same price as all that same stuff too. But then you get a little cut of all of it too, which is great. But
Going back to your workflow.
yeah.
What systems do you use for your external drives? I imagine solid state. Like I know, like Lexar just released like the modules where you can just put in like solid state drives or like card readers. I know that SanDisk has like the Pro Blades.
Right.
What do you use?
What I've actually been doing lately is I've had this computer for I'm not sure how long actually, but it's like one of the newer computers, and I have a 1 terabyte solid state, like, or maybe it's 2, just the biggest hard drive I could ever have. Because what I'll do is I'll edit the entire project on this laptop, because then it's not having to like reference stuff that's on a hard drive, which like always is going to slow it down in some kind of way. Because whether it's like, because you can even have like a solid state hard drive, like I have a couple, but then if you have like some wrong kind of cord, it still plugs in and connects, but it's a total bottleneck. So just because it can't transfer data through this cord quickly enough to like scrub through video and do all these little things. So what I've found is keeping the project native on my desktop is kind of the way to go for quick editing, and it can recall it quick. And then I've had a couple like more expensive hard drives in the past, but now because of this workflow, what I found is I can save buying like just a Western Digital 20 terabyte hard drive for like $600 or something. Nothing crazy, not crazy speeds or anything like that. But I don't need the crazy speed, because once I'm done with the project, I'm just gonna dump that whole project onto this thing. And if it takes like 15 minutes to upload all that footage because it's like a little bit slower connection or slower drive, like I'm fine with that, because I'm not using it in the editing type of way. But if you are, definitely the solid states and everything is great. But if the solid state is just on the laptop, I recommend just doing it on that, and then it keeps it snappy. And as long as your laptop's pretty freed up, you're kind of good to go. But so yeah. Yeah.
But in those cases, what do you do if you have to go back to your files and re-edit something? Do you grab all the files again on your computer and edit and then put it back on the hard drive, or do
You don't need to. Yeah. So you can either plug in the hard drive, access it from the hard drive, and make whatever adjustments you need without pulling it back to your main computer. And it will be like slightly slower, but usually all the work's pretty much done and you're just doing 1 or 2 things. So that's kind of what I've found for that, is that you can just access that on the hard drive. If like they're like, oh, you know what, like my mom divorced that guy, like, can you edit him out of the photo? I've done that. And so I like bring up the old photo, you can find it, you like AI him out, bring that person a little closer in the group shot, and you're good to go. But so yeah, and then you save yourself having to transfer like that giant project back to your laptop. So yeah. But any other
How long do you keep buying hard drives instead of like, a year, 2 years, 3 years, instead of keep buying hard drives?
I kind of just have been going like as they fill up. So I don't like to have, like, I think I'll get usually around like a 12 terabyte. Like sometimes 20 is like nice now, because like by the time you shoot these like photo and video projects, it ends up being just massive like projects. Like you can see in like this, like for example, like what is this? Okay, so this is like a Toyota thing I shot, but you can just see right here, 68 gigabytes, like just in this folder, because it's photo, video, it's a lot of different stuff. So one cool thing about photo stuff is that once I go through like in Lightroom, and actually I can close this out. Once I go through in Lightroom and make all my selections like with a star, I can open that file, open that catalog back up and say, show me all the photos that I didn't want for this. And it'll bring up all those for me. So I can do it for this one actually. So I'll go in, I'll take the catalog, open up the catalog, and then, so this is like if I were to be kind of cleaning up a hard drive and trying to get like a little bit more space out of it. It's been like a couple months or whatever. I'll go back into a project, and then you'll say, show me all the photos equal to 0. And then basically these are all the photos that I don't need. So then you can like highlight all those, delete, and then when you say, let's see, so you'll like delete them, and it'll say, this is huge, it'll say remove it from just your Lightroom library, or do you want to delete them from the actual hard drive? And I'm using this to delete them from the hard drive because I don't need those photos anymore. And then once I do that, they all go to the trash. I can probably do it for this project actually. So I'll delete from disk, they're all gone. And now just to make sure, I'm like, okay, let me click on my good ones, make sure they're all still there, greater than or equal. And then you can click right there and you're like, okay, perfect. It looks like all of my edits are still there with those in the trash. So now I'm good to clear the trash and you know that you still have all your good photos here. But so I remember we had a couple like Toyota fans and stuff last time. So this was like a random little Toyota event that I did the other day. And these are all different Toyota influencers. And they're all really good at posting and doing drone shots and stuff like that. But these are like a couple like drone shots I got. It was like kind of a car show meetup. So I did a ton of edits on these where you like desaturate everything else to kind of just feature those guys, darken it up a little bit. And then while I had the drone in the air, I like ran up to all these different guys and we opened the doors and had them do like some like cool little looking up shots. Like some of these were kind of cool that I liked. But this was, I think, like highly edited. You can see here, maybe I gotta, oh, maybe that was a good one for it. Oh, you know what? I can't do it because I just deleted the old ones. But these photos were pretty, like this is I could probably do it for this one, maybe. Before and after, or maybe develop mode is why. Yeah, there. So you can see kind of like before and afters on that. Like, I think I use a combo of like the spot tool and this, but you get rid of all the lines and then you can kind of like darken that. And you can see it's like highly edited just to kind of clean it up because we're just in like some parking lot. But you can see like this one was a good one, but I think once you pull it into Photoshop, oh yeah, see like this is already edited on the left. But yeah, there's just some like before and after samples. Yeah, like that. So, and that's one thing with these new tools that is so awesome with these like AI remove tools is before like you would always have to be like cloning it. So you'd like need like this little patch to erase and you're using this sample to erase. Now you can just highlight all this and say go, like, and it'll just go, oh, poof, and it just cleans up that entire edge. And if it's not good, you say, try it again. So like, yeah, let me just do this. I can like duplicate it, we'll reset it, and then I'll just show you like, here's the spot removal tool. This is the one in Lightroom. But then you can just take something like this, take the sign, take all these guys, even if you get the edge of the truck, sometimes it does weird things, but sometimes it doesn't, so it's worth trying. And then you can like remove that and then let it do its work. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, it's, see what I mean? If you get like the little tailgate part, sometimes it does funny stuff. So it's good to have like the cleanest selection that you can, but then it also gives you other options. So like you can do that. I'm like adding accessories to these guys' cars. But then, so that in that case, it didn't really work because I highlighted too much of this truck. So if I were to do it again, you do it like this, you do it like that, take away some big spots, and you can even do it on top of each other. So like you could take away all these things, see if that works. And then sometimes it's just not doing what you want. So you kind of have to like fuss with, see like that's pretty decent. So like I would take that and then on the next round, you do one more over the top of that. And then you can like touch the edge of the truck and it would know that you want to keep the edge of that truck. So let's see. Yeah, and then you're in a position like where you can like kind of work with that, you know? And then you can do like some of the other like little stuff. But so yeah, that's a little sample like that. All right, I think we're about ready now that everyone's back. So I kind of wanted to, we were chatting really quick just about some editing and stuff. And I wanted to touch on just this quick little tip for editing with drone stuff. Because you're using this drone with the 3 different lenses inside of it, it's actually using like 3 different sensors to record like whatever it is you're shooting for photo and video. But when it comes to editing the photo stuff, the photos are entirely different based on the lens that it's used. So it can be difficult to like make one adjustment on one photo, sync it to the rest of them, because it ends up looking entirely different with these different lenses because they're different quality. So one little thing I do for that is I'll go into my drone folder right here, and then I'll look at the metadata. And then right here, it brings up the lenses. And it shows you the 3 different lenses that are on the drone. And then I think once you pull it into Photoshop, it calls it an unknown lens. But so I'll go show me the wide lens. And then these are all the photos from the drone with the wide lens. And then you can see these are all kind of like wider establishing shots. And then once you go to this second lens, this is the 70mm lens, which is more zoomed. And I'll use it for like tighter stuff like that. And I do a lot of the top-down shots with the zoom lens too, because you don't have to be right on top of your subject. So it's pretty high, probably 50 yards high or something like that. A couple, like maybe 100 feet or something. But then it allows you to kind of shoot straight down with less distortion, and you can not be like bugging everyone, and it's kind of up high. People can't even really hear it when you're up there. So that's with that. And then the super zoom, sometimes I'll use it for like a shot of the moon, or if you're really high up, just kind of like zooming down to get like some tighter shots on whatever it is that your subject is. But this is another example of like, you just wake up early and you get good stuff. Any questions about like that, editing or quality or anything like that?
This is like my brain just thinking out loud, but I wonder if it's similar. Like a lot of people notice when they started doing video more on mirrorless cameras, that the compression or something like that, if you take a true zoom lens, not a fixed focal length,
right,
but you go from wide to telephoto, the contrast changes. So like if you zoom in the middle of your recording, it's kind of a pain in the ass if you care about color grading, because the same clip is different between the wide angle and the telephoto.
Right, and it'll like, yeah, because we'll be swapping lenses, and it's like an entirely different effect kind of that you're getting. Yeah, 100%. That's why I usually when I go through in my workflow, when I edit like this, I'll edit them like this and edit all the wide shots together, and then you can just easily like edit this one, sync it up, say do all the same settings to this lens, and now go to this lens, do all the same settings to that lens, and then you can kind of go in and make your little micro adjustments. But oh, this is another example of just AI. This was where's the original? Oh, I think this was the original shot. And then in Photoshop, you can expand your crop and then say add it like a beach or whatever. So pretty much the only real part of this is like this, and then you just expand it and have it cycle through a couple like other options, and then that's completely fake, but it looked pretty good. Good enough to use. And then these are another example of just like some cool like top-down shots that I've been getting recently that look really cool for boats. And we had a few like of the Toyota trucks in there with the top down, but for boats especially, it's really good just to kind of see the layouts. But so we had that, and then one other quick little example I was going to show from this gallery was it was another little AI thing that actually works really well on drones. Let's see here. So I think in here, oh, and this is a good little example of finding the right people to connect with. So this is this morning. This job is for this brand called Freedom Boat Club, and they have a bunch of different franchises all around the United States. And I've actually had the opportunity to go with a couple friends, a producer, and another friend who does a lot of video work, and we'll go to all these different boat clubs and photograph their boats in their specific location. So like we've got to go to Maine and Texas and South Carolina and a lot of Florida stuff, and then they'll use all the marketing material from their location in their ads and posts, and we give them a whole library to do. But in this case, this is once a year they hold a big conference for all the franchises from all over the United States, all come to Florida. They stay at this hotel, and it's a good opportunity to just network with all of the different clubs and say hi to people that you've seen and haven't seen for a while. But then also you get the entire marketing team that's there. And some, like as the years go by, some people you know, some people are new. But so I was on the dock kind of getting some photos, and this was the boat full of, their marketing team is all girls. So they all got on this pontoon boat, and I'm like, okay, let me make sure I gotta get this shot of all the girls on the boat. So I think I got them like kind of like all walking out, get them some cool shots that they can like download and post and share, but knowing who to schmooze is important. So then this, I have mixed feelings on this because this is good and bad, but we did AI, and then you do it like this. So these are like the marketing girls. So I'm like, like they were talking about this, and it's like, do you say, oh no, I'm never going to be able to travel to any of these places ever again because they know that they can just do AI? But also, it's like, it's not that easy to just like say, oh, make this picture. Like you can maybe chat GPT, but there's a few little different things that you kind of still have to know. Like, so they're still going to like reach out to me, hopefully, like, oh, like Jeff did that photo. He knows how to kind of do the AI stuff. So maybe like we could do a shoot and they could adjust this. So just trying to be of value with all the new stuff that just keeps evolving. But so I thought that was kind of an interesting example to like show all the marketing girls. And then of course, they're going to see it because they all download every single one of them because I watch on the back end. But they did like, they have ones in Australia, but it's still goofy, like that's like not where the Opera House actually is, it's on the other side. Like it just does funny things. And then also for like, this is a great shot for it because the horizon is like your whole subject is below the horizon here. So it's just generating everything from, I think I selected this. And then if you notice, this big hotel's in the reflection. So you also need to kind of select that. And then once you have that entire selection, you just type in like we did on our Photoshop example, you say Washington, DC, and then it gives me a couple options for that. And then I say Sydney, Australia, and it gives me a couple options for that, but it's all still fake, like that would get called out. But it's a cool thing. And then this is like the Golden Gate Bridge, and then you're like, now the Coronado Bridge, and it's not blue, there's all these like different little things that are not spot on. So hopefully we're not completely out of the traveling. But then you're like Lake Powell, and it's pretty cool that you can just generate all these different things. What's that? Yeah, just like marooned on like in the Pacific. Go ahead.
As a professional, what would you say would be your limit to how much AI you would be permitting yourself, or should be permitting yourself to use to alter an image?
Yeah, so I would say when you're shooting anything, it's always best to just get as absolute much in camera as you can, because you're just like adding more post work for yourself. So like the first thing that came to mind is just like shooting like a couple or something like that, and there's just like a pile of seaweed like right in front, and you're like, I'll Photoshop that later, and then you end up hitting like 10 shots, and then you like do something else, and you're like, but then you get back and you're like, God, I really wish I just would have gone, whoop, move that seaweed or whatever it is, and then just do that, and then it's not even a problem, you know? So it's always good to just get as much of that stuff done as possible, because a lot of the AI will be like, it's so good now that like I just shot a house and I took a picture of the garage, and one side's nice, one side's just junk everywhere, and I'm like, all right, either I can spend like 15 minutes like moving all these cans of paint to try to like get rid of it, or like with the AI tools, I can just like highlight that and poof, it's good to go. But so like there's always like a little balance, but definitely it's better to err on the side of like just getting it in camera, because you're just setting yourself up for less work later. So, but if it's like something like that where you're looking at like 15 minutes just like moving junk, I'm like, it's pretty good now, and I'm familiar enough with it that I know what it can and can't do, which is also huge, because like it's kind of a Hail Mary if you don't really know if it can do that. But like for this shot was like perfect, because they would have been happy with the regular shot, and then just adding a couple like little bonus shots just to show them like you can do this, what I thought was kind of a valuable thing. But any other questions regarding any thing on in that realm? All right. So yeah, and then yeah, that they always download all these and all the like little photos like that. We got a little action shot of the drone. See here, you can. It's kind of cool. You can see the polarization layers on the on that. I thought that was kind of cool.
I just have a request.
Yeah.
You know, whatever works in your timing, but they just did a project where they had to shoot interiors.
Oh yeah.
And so maybe some of your real estate or something where you can talk about how you deal with that.
Totally, totally. Let's bring that up. So here is some of the real estate stuff. Have you guys been flying the drones inside the house? Oh, that's awesome. I know. It's like I've had some good, some bad from that stuff. Yeah, I've definitely like nipped some doorways, and then also like the smaller drones you get, I've found that like they're affected by like air conditioning and like stuff, like any drafts within the house. Like you start to notice that stuff, like the lighter weight drone you have. So I've kind of found that like the air is pretty good with the propeller guards, because it's heavy enough to kind of like do its own thing, and if you knock something, you're still safe. But yeah.
Do you thumb your joysticks or do you grip them?
I think I just thumb. Yeah, I'm like yeah, like you were saying like this, or like yeah, I think I'm mainly like this actually. And it's funny, like this controller I actually don't like as much as I think it was the Mavic 2, where you had to plug your phone in with it. But there was so much less like play in the joystick, and I found it like so much easier to control like all these like little micro movements. And then this with it, like you really got to go out even for like not much. And there's like little adjustments you can make within the settings that I've tried to tune in like as close as I can, so I'm like familiar with it and stuff. But yeah, I think I'm just a regular thumb like Xbox guy, you know. but
Question over here.
oh yeah.
Do you fly FPV as well?
No, I have not gotten into the FPV world. I would love to.
That's probably where you're gonna switch to the.
Yeah, because I like those shots are absolutely amazing, and I've like it's definitely been on my list of things, but the more I've kind of like learned about it, the more I learn like how difficult it is. And it's not like, oh, I'll just get this 360 camera and now I have access to all those shots, because I've heard that it's pretty difficult to get like trained up on all those things. And a lot of people I see use like computer simulators to kind of figure it out so you're not just wiping out. So I know I would be like a little nervous to kind of wipe out, but I would love to do a little bit more deeper. Do you do a little FPV stuff? And oh, cool. Yeah. Well, I'll get some cards and stuff from you guys.
Take a big pile of money, just slide it right over here to where it says.
Exactly. Yeah. Steep learning curve. Like, cause I'm like,
Let's fly the Avata.
uh-huh.
And you can just cut that money in half.
Uh-huh.
Because it is a tame Cinedrone. It's kind of
Right.
the whole evolution of FPV to Cinedrones to what DJI's done with it.
Right.
And so I'm a big fan of the Avata too.
Yeah.
I'm all by myself with this. I'm a big fan of the wand where it's applicable.
Right.
Remote control where it's applicable.
Right.
Another drone that I've been playing with is the Flip. That's something you might
I haven't
look
seen
at
that
because
one,
you're
yeah.
traditional.
Right.
So the Flip is designed to fly indoors, where the other drones are kind of like not designed to fly indoors, and then they put
Right.
those apparatus on the blades. But the pitch on the Flip, the profile
I'm gonna
is
write
so
this down.
flat and wide
Right.
that he can show you offline some footage of me flying a Flip, and I'm flying right in a fan. A fan is blowing on it. I'm flying right by plants.
Awesome.
And you can see the plants are doing this.
Yeah.
But that thing is just rock solid because it's got a 3-axis
Right.
gimbal, but it's so wide and low stance.
Right.
The pitch on the blade is different.
Yeah, I always leave here with a bunch of good notes, so I'm gonna check some stuff out later for sure. Here, I'll just show you guys this video really quick. This is like a real estate job that I do. This is they're a builder in La Jolla, and they basically find some lot, scrape it, and I'll kind of film the whole process. But this is a video. I think this is only the finished product. All drone from the exterior, and oh, thank you. And all the interior, I've just done just gimbal cams from inside the house. But having a drone inside, like, kind of opens a whole new door of like seamless shots you can get, like flying up a staircase and things like that. But to kind of fake it, what I'll do is just have the gimbal and use those speed ramps. So when you're like walking up the stairs, you can kind of zip up the stairs. But this is a good example of, oh, this is a really cool drone shot where you can get, this is using partially the waypoints on the drone. So what I'll do is I'll go shoot a house in the daytime, mark these waypoints, save them, and then usually I'll go inside, shoot the whole house, photo and video. It takes forever. And then by the time you come out, it's nighttime. And then you can use like your second drone battery to do all those same shots, but at night. And then when you stitch them together, you can go from like day to night in some transitions, which usually looks pretty cool. So this is a little example of that. And those are kind of speed ramps. And then you can flash back to that. And then that's, and then you kind of go back and forth to these like daytime and nighttime things. And I think a lot of these are just with, this was a while ago. These are all with the gimbal, I'm pretty sure. And they just kind of like this job is for the builders. So I would kind of go in with a different mindset. Like, you're going in like shooting details and like all these cool little features rather than like a real estate listing where you're kind of wanting to see more wide rooms. But I'll kind of do a combo of both. But I would just kind of have that in the back of my mind as you're kind of going through shooting all of these different little things. But yeah, now we're kind of into like gimbal stuff and a lot of speed ramping. So for all of the gimbal stuff, that's a day to night, but just from regular gimbal. Another day to night from the gimbal. And those are just kind of remembering like some of the shots that I got, and then you come back as the sun's going down. But for all these gimbal shots, as far as like settings go, these are all like a wide lens, like 15 to 30, I think is what I usually put on there. And then they're all 60 frames a second, which is huge because you need to do slow motion with all of this. These are all 60 frames per second, half speed. So that way you can kind of get these like nice, slow, like, and it gives you kind of an opportunity to just like look around the scene, and you have enough frames in there to make it look smooth. And then if you're panning to any different thing, usually I just kind of speed it up for that little section and then show like another part. But yeah, now you kind of go back to these little day and night shots with that. And then maybe one more. Like, see, that's not even exactly the same shot, but it's close enough that you can kind of flash back and forth. It's a super cool house. That's like another cool little shot right here too that I like to get. It's looking straight down like that. So you're just looking straight down, and then you just spin the drone, just like just in a 360, and then you pause again, and then you have that cool little shot from above to kind of use. But yeah, so that's kind of that. Any questions for this type of interior stuff? I have not done too much drone stuff inside, actually. I've had like one or two not so hot experience. I crashed one like flying in a garage without like propeller guards and stuff, because the second anything hits like a prop, you're done. So I've kind of stuck away from that, but just because I've found that like using like this camera on a gimbal, you kind of get a similar effect, and like it's kind of like high risk. I mean, depending on how good you are and how good and how safe your drone is, but like I would be so nervous to like fly in a house like this and like chip a wall or like run into something like that. So it's just such a safer guarantee. Like with a camera like this, I'm just holding it and I know it's going to be fine and safe and everything. And then I'll do the drone shots like outside. But I can kind of flick through a couple of shots here. So these are like a good example of just you kind of fly to the spot, you pick it, photo. Okay, now let's get our drone move. And then you saw like in the video, you'll have all those other little shots, and you try to remember just to kind of go back and forth. But like this is a good shot with like that medium zoom lens, because you can kind of see how you can not be right on top of it, but you can kind of get some of those good angles. And then I'll kind of go through on photo stuff and like add it to the TVs on Photoshop, add their logo to the TVs as like just a little bonus thing for them. But that's this house. And then these take forever to shoot because they're huge houses, and you got to go into every room and turn on every light and open every blind so that it looks the same from the outside. And but they're fun to shoot. And usually I'll do these on a day where no one's going to be bothered. I'm usually just by myself shooting them, so it's kind of nice because you can just put a headphone in, listen to some music. And usually for these, I'll do one all photo pass, and then I'll get a new camera, one all video pass, because then you're not back and forth in it and forgetting stuff. So here's another, yeah?
Do you bring your own lighting equipment, or do you go in a specific hour to use the network?
I will look like I'll get the address for like these houses or something, and I'll look online and see, or like at Google Maps and be like, okay, like this house faces south, so in the morning it's going to be front lit by the sun right there, which always kind of looks the best, especially on the drone. Like the drone cameras are not as great as like these bigger cameras, so anytime you can like use the front light of the sun to light your subject, so like the sun's behind you and you're shooting this way, you can make like the colors pop so much harder, and especially with that polarizer, because it'll cut out all the glare. So I will definitely keep that in mind. And we can like watch a quick little intro on this one. Oh, this is a good example of some speed ramps. And then it'll kind of show the area. That's that 360 looking down shot I like to get. And then those are just like very like, I think that's drone, just like using the gimbal up and down. There's a lot of like little, I'll show you guys this again, and we can pause a few shots. But like when you're shooting like a house, for example, if you're just like really close, there's so many shots you can get without even moving the drone at all. Like you can just be parked right here and just use the little tilt, just hovering in one spot. And it's almost, think of it like having just a big ladder outside of the house. So you're just standing right here, but then you can get like the sky looking down, or just like to the left looking over, or just going up and down, just like 5 feet at a time. Not even like crazy moving around shots, but you can get some really nice shots just from up close, almost treating your drone like it's you on a ladder. So think about that when you see a couple of these shots, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, that's just a slow pan across. That's a reverse shot. That's that little above shot I like to get. These are regular camera. That's just a slow push in. That's the drone just looking down. And a lot of them aren't even crazy drone movements necessarily. Like that's just a really slow push back. And then these are all just with a gimbal, I think, from the inside here. But they're all very similar movements. Like you're over here and then you look, and then you're over here and then you look. So like that's kind of like a shot that would be cool like on a drone too. Like if you were flying inside, like you can get those really cool just like seamless shots, like flying all the way down. Maybe you like look over, fly all the way down that way. So like if I was flying a drone inside, like those are definitely kind of some of the shots I would get. There's one more, probably like, maybe like 2 hours or something. Usually what I'll do is I'll kind of go through our workflow, upload everything in there. I use Final Cut. So I'll open up a Final Cut project. And what I'll do is I'll just go into my drone folder, dump every drone clip I have onto the timeline. And then I'll just scrub through that timeline and be like, okay, this is good, that's good, that's good, that's good. I highlight all those little sections that I want, put them in the front, and then just delete everything out of the timeline. Because I'm not really deleting it, it's all still in the thing, but it just gives you one giant timeline of all your footage from the drone. And then you're just like, okay, beginning, middle, and I get all those little drone shots, I edit them all up, they're good to go. And then I'll go in, and also for the color. And like if you give it, usually I don't do a ton of color grading, I'll just add a little saturation here and there. But so then you can easily sync all those clips, add a little coloring, boom, that's done. And then I'll go back into a folder and I'll say, okay, let's upload all, this is also important, because once you go into, so like this is a good example. So I filmed all of this, like, so this is just an example of back-end stuff. But I filmed all of this on like a couple different cameras. But so you end up having like different folders for stuff, but I want to be able to have it all organized by time. So these different, could we maybe turn on one set of the backlights? Perfect. Or maybe, yeah, those guys are perfect. And we can kill the one above the screen if that works. Perfect. But so this is a good example of that. So I'll take all the video footage from this camera. Usually I keep the drone separate, but then I'll put all the video footage into one folder. And then what you can see is like every clip from this camera is JL1, and then you can see the other clips are like JL2 or 3. And it'll organize them like that, but I'll tell it, no, I want it to be organized by the time. So here you can see that it starts off with 145, 143, and then it's in sequence by time, no matter what camera it is. So then what I can do is highlight all these clips from mainly these two cameras, drag them into the timeline, and then everything is organized by the time because I've selected them all the clips from here, drug them in, and then I'll just do the generic like slow it down, highlight all, slow it down by half speed, and then you can just scrub through that entire timeline of every single camera synced by time, pick all your little clips, and that really like helps streamline stuff because then you're not like grabbing a clip over here and being like, oh, that goes over here, that's got to go with here. So then you'll have everything edited up like looking pretty, and then you can play with like, let's move that clip to the middle and that clip to the middle. And that I found is like a really kind of fast workflow for that because you get all of your like bulk edits done. You trim up all your pieces, you have all your like hero clips, delete all the rest of it, or you can make a new little project or whatever, copy them in there, and then you have all your hero little clips. Then all you're doing is organizing these nice little clips and they're ready to go. And then if you ever needed like something, you're like, wait a minute, I thought I had a shot of this. You just go back into this and find it and then drag it in. So
you already have like a storyboard before going, you already have a step process that you go through.
Kinda, yeah. Like I would say like my storyboard is kind of more like time sequential, like just off the top of my head. And then once I kind of get all of the stuff like in sequence and order, I'll edit it and then I'll be like, okay, let's do like a day to night one here. And then you can like grab that night shot, bring it over, but they're already all worked up. So then it's kind of just like dragging little puzzle pieces that are finalized. So you have all these little clips edited, ready to go, and you're just putting this there and that there instead of like doing it as you're going. So that I found has been pretty helpful.
One of those videos, what's your price rate?
So these ones have been, these ones are an example of like, I got my foot in the door and I think I was doing these like $500 like a project, and then they're like, oh yeah, I think we want video too, and it's always like a quick little by the way, and then I'm like, all right, cool, and then I go do it. I'm like, oh god, I'm like, hey, like I love working with you guys, but I got to tell you, like video's got to be a separate thing now. And they're like, oh, it's okay, we saw like what you did, we loved it. So then it was like 500, and then as these houses get like bigger and bigger, now I'll probably charge like $750 to $1,000 photo side, and then like same thing for like video side, just to kind of cover like edits and stuff like that. But yeah, usually the video is honestly like the easiest part because all the lights are on, you're not really like messing with stuff, and you're just kind of doing like walkthroughs, and you can just kind of walk through these houses and get all your little shots. The photos is what kind of takes longer because I'll pop like some flashes and it's on a tripod and that, but yeah, that's kind of what I've done for that. So any other questions kind of in that realm? I'll see what else. There's a couple. These are examples of like what a polarizer will get you too. Like it just helps bring the sky in so much more when the sun's behind you, and it just gives you so much like color pop in the sky. See how like dark the sky is there, and that's without any extra editing. You maybe bring the blues up a little, but it's getting all that in camera, which is nice. And then yeah, these are just some samples of that. Keep going.
Like sports racing or and moving more faster.
Well, for what?
For drones, like the sports action. Something.
Oh yeah. Let me. I have some. This might be a good. This is like a bunch of stuff I've done with Toyota. So a lot of. We're talking about just like how you meet clients and things like that. So for the, since I'll be shooting at the soccer games and the football games, Toyota always has like a little tent outside. And my initial in with them was I go to all the games. I'm like, oh, come outside the tent. I take some cool photos of them. I always get their email. I'm like, I'll send them to you. And I do. And I go edit them up. And then that Monday, I'll send them all the photos. But those are like all the Toyota marketing people that have like planned to bring that tent and park the car, and then they have cool photos of it, and then I upload all the photos, send them to them. I'm like, oh, just so you know, like I have a bunch of other cool stuff too. I paste one more little link. And although I was like getting paid by like San Diego State or whatever it was for that job, like all their partners are right here. So then next time Toyota needed something, they just call me because they have my email already because I've sent them it. If they forgot, they were like, oh, it was from SDSU, and they just look it up in their email and they can easily find you. But so these are just some shots from the previous, like, these are all really cool Toyota influencers that they all sponsor now to come out, and they have really cool cars with all their accessories and stuff. This is a good example of like, so if you can't use a drone, how you can kind of use like 360s to kind of look like it. Because this was shot at the Intuit Dome, which is right by SoFi, which is right under LAX. So it's basically no-go on the drone. So I'm like, what can I do to kind of give it like these wide feels? So I think there's a couple. I used the 360 camera just kind of like on a pole, just like this. And you just got to like walk through with everyone like looking at you like, what's going on with this? But I'll try to like make it fun sometimes because they know I'm doing something, you know. So I'm like, say what's up, and they'll kind of like give it a little something, and it adds to it because then you can like see all these people in the video. But there's a couple little clips here that kind of give you a drone look, like this. Like that's just with the stick up top, and then you're just kind of walking around. And that's the same thing with just the 360 up top. That's a 360 just doing a time lapse. These are all regular camera. And then I think that's a good example of that. And then here's another cool example.
360 camera do you have the X?
This is the X, I think it's the X3, yeah. And then another cool thing that I've realized that could like be of value to some of the clients is using this. So like, this is just, is there a little volume to turn it down or maybe I can just do that. Oh, there we go. So this is an example of like just a raw 360 clip, but all of my clients are always like, they want to see the crowd, they want to see stuff. So if you upload a 360 video on YouTube, you can just look anywhere you want. Like, see, there I am. If you look straight down, you can see that. So it just gives like your clients like a good overview. And it's always kind of cool. You can impress them. You just take this YouTube link, you send it to them in a text or whatever. It shows the thumbnail. But then if you watch it on your phone, you can like look at it like this or look at it like this or up or down. And your phone just knows how to do that when a 360 video pops up. But this is just a cool way to like show like just a walk around of that, which I thought was really cool. And there's actually like another cool video that I got like it. I was actually testing this out recently for a ski thing. So this was a cool test of the same thing. And what I actually did for this was you have, I think you record your thing on Strava, and it knows how fast you're going, it knows where you are, it knows all this information. And then on your phone, you can save, it's called a GPX file separately. And then what you can do is upload that file so that you can get all these stats. So it'll show you like how fast you're going. This one isn't completely accurate, but it was kind of a test. It'll show you your altitude.
You can do that directly on the 360 app.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then it'll show you all of these things. And then if you've ever tried on one of those VR headsets, you can go on YouTube and then you put the VR headset on and it feels like you're just like actually going down the hill like this, and you can like look straight down or look back around and see every little like detail, which is so cool because just filming it. Oh yeah, here you can see the stick.
So how about for like a real estate walkthrough? So
Yeah, exactly. And they've there's a couple other like programs that were really popular during like COVID when like real estate was really popping off. But one of them is called Matterport. Are you familiar with that?
I have not used it.
It's basically a program that you can just take a camera on a 360, and so you could either do it like I'm doing here, where you just take it, walk it. That's probably what I would do. It's easy enough to just see every little thing. I'll probably do that for the next house that I shoot, just so you can kind of look around. And it's good if you just like have like a hat or something. You're just kind of like in the shot if you need to be, but I always just wear all black, and you're just kind of like not like wearing a bright red shirt where you're like distracting. But I'll probably do that for like a walk around just like this. And then you have like a 360 tour. And I've also seen there's programs called Matterport where you would basically take this with like a little tripod thing on the bottom, and you'll like set it in the room like this. You'll go hide behind a corner, and then on your phone you can say like take the image. It'll take the image, and then you move it like 10 feet ahead. It'll take the image 10 more feet. It'll take the image, and then what this program will do is it'll stick together all of those images so that you can do like a 360
The old style
walkthrough.
VR.
Yeah, photo version, and then you're not in it. But I think the cooler way to do it would be to just like kind of walk around, and it's like you can just post it to YouTube. It's easy. You don't have to. Matterport like makes you pay for their program, and you have to upload it to them, and but otherwise you can just put it on
You
YouTube.
can also
And
get the sphere if you're willing to spend like 12 grand.
yes,
And you just sit that in the middle room and it does the entire thing.
yes, and it has like LiDAR on it too, so it can tell you square footage, which is really cool.
Some of these apps actually build a model,
Yeah.
not pictures. So
Uh-huh.
it's a model. Now you're not pinned to the path of the camera.
Right.
You can actually step over here and look at where the camera was and
Even
move
the
around
iPhone
it.
13
Right.
does a pretty good job.
Right,
It's
like
not perfect, but it does a decent job at it.
right.
Yeah.
It like there's all the cameras are so good now. You can get away with a lot. But yeah, so that's a cool example of just and that was just like a total bonus like video I did, because I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I'm like, I got this camera. I kind of been wanting to try this out anyway. If it works, it works. So at least I don't like tell them I'm doing it. So I like hang myself out to let it work or not. I'm just like, if it works, it works. And I was able to do this. And then I used a bunch of these same shots for those little speed ramps and stuff like that. But this is all just edited in the Insta360. And I just do one video, full clip, 360, uncut. It's that hole where you can look around. And then I'll put it in the Insta360 app again and get like little clips and speed ramps and other stuff out of it. But yeah, and then this is kind of like the photo side of things. They were doing like a big promotion on to do this contest, and you win this truck. So this was like the first time they did it. So I've realized kind of a lot of times what my role is like, one of the gals who works for Toyota marketing, she's like, okay, I came up with this whole new contest and everything. I got to make it look busy. I want it to look like it's interactive, because what she does is she'll use this website, actually, I realize, and then she'll go to her bosses at Toyota and be like, the promotion went great. Here's all these photos. Like, people were lining up to do it. Like, here's all of our branding inside the stadium, like right there. Like these are all like media packages they pay a lot of money for. So like you just get shots, like nothing even crazy. You just kind of make sure you get all anything with a logo. I'm like, I'm on it. So yeah, you get a couple with like their stuff in the background, because that's all part of their media package. They let them like do the games out front, and then they have all the branding like within the stadium too. And then, oh, this is a good example of like using like some of that Zoom stuff for day to night transitions for like the fair. I can probably raise some of that.
This one is for LC specifically or Toyota?
What's that?
This one's for Toyota, not for LC.
Yeah, this one was for Toyota because they'll do like these big booths where it's honestly one of the best like marketing things like they could do, because so many people go to the fair and look at these trucks, and you can go inside and look. So I always like to get a tour from like whoever it is I'm working with, and they're like, oh, this is a new thing we got, like this spin wall. So I'm like, okay, that's important. I'll have them give me a tour. Like if ever I can have like a host or something to like take me for a little walk around tour, it's kind of nice. But I like to get a tour, like whatever it is I'm doing, I'm like, all right, what did you spend like all your time like organizing or building? So I know like, don't miss that. So that's always a good thing I like to do. This one, they had like a new booth and stuff that they kind of used. And then I include like all the photos and stuff too. This is like a cool little kind of, sometimes I do like these little like shutter drag tricks where if you're shooting just like signs and stuff a lot of time, like these, I'm not really doing it, but sometimes I try to like do a slow shutter so the people kind of blur by whatever the sign is. There should be some in here, but then it kind of makes the shot more about the sign and the branding instead of like some guy walking by with a Coke that's kind of distracting. You kind of get like an artistic little blur out of it, which is kind of a cool little photo thing. And
A brief question.
yeah,
As far as your website, so you just did it through TikTok?
yeah.
And you don't even have your own website?
I do have my own website, but this is like what I host all the client galleries in. So I'm kind of like in this like weird phase where I have like that, but then all this stuff too. And I'll kind of grab cool photos from these and put them on my main website. But this is what I like deliver. And I've kind of found that this is a nice way to do it, because then I'll get like asked by someone to shoot like a house or whatever. And I'm like, let me send you like a sample gallery. And then I'll send them specific stuff to what they need. And then it can be a little more like targeted, because I shoot so much like different stuff. Like I do have like a dedicated wedding website with all that stuff, and then dedicated like more, I think it's like, this is like what my regular website looks like right now. And I haven't really touched it in a long time. But this just has like different kind of shots from like long time ago. Yeah, and it's not as downloady, but it just kind of gives like some of my information and stuff. But yeah, as far as like specific client galleries, that's kind of what I've been doing now. And it's, I think it's like $250 a year. And I honestly could probably get rid of like my other websites and stuff, because I'm like, every time at the end of the year, I'm like going through all these like subscriptions and everything that you end up having. And I'm like, I don't know if I need this, if you have that, you know? So I'll probably end up shifting over to just all pick time and making like basically a website like this, you know, because it's kind of pointless to have like double. But this just shows like a broad array of different type of shots. Some of these are really old too. But yeah, do we have a question?
Yeah, so, do you have separate websites for realty and photography and stuff like that? Or is it just that, I guess, the realty people you meet through word of mouth and then you post it wherever?
Right. Yeah, because I found that it is nice to have like separate homes for like different genres, because like if you're shooting like a house or something, like I don't want them to see a bunch of like wedding photos and stuff, you know, like that's not what they're looking for, and vice versa. Like if it's a bride, she's not going to care about like some workout dude, you know, like. So I have found that it's nice to have like separate like little homes like that, all of those similar type of projects can live. And that's kind of why I would recommend the PickTime website, because like you can have just different galleries within it and easily like just be paying for one website and you can like make a whole page like this and be like, oh, these are going to be like all my like party photos, and these are going to be all my real estate photos. And then if someone asks you, oh, let me see your real estate gallery, you can just easily copy that link, text them the link, and it actually shows up like a really nice little thumbnail with like a photo and like link to the description and stuff. So it's a nice clickable way to share it and a good like home for everything. So
You and Fernando need to get together and send that video to Pick Times. They'll sponsor you after that.
I know. I'm a big advocate for it now because they have been like, it's kind of just changed the game when it comes to like presenting your work, because you end up with like all these like cool photos and stuff, and it's like unless you have a good way to like show it, and it's so easy that it just makes it look so much better. So if you're getting all these like cool drone shots and stuff, it's nice to just be able to send a link that's easily clickable, and people can just, it looks pretty much the same on the phone too, and you can just download, and then you have all the like back end data where it shows people downloaded this photo or whatever it is. But yeah, we were chatting about Better Buzz too, so we had that up. But yeah.
Out of all the things you do, which one's your favorite and which one brings in the most money?
So by far, I would say, like for my entire career, by far the most biggest moneymaker at the end of the year when you add everything up is weddings. Weddings is huge. Like, and it's a lot of work, it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of editing, but it's getting easier now. But that has always been the lowest entry barrier, because you have friends that are getting married and things like that, that you can shoot their weddings. So it's kind of easier to get in the door. So I found that that's a bonus of it. And then it brings in quite a bit of money. And then once I've done, usually weddings will be like anywhere from like 2,000 to like 3,000 for like per wedding, photo only usually. And then if they want video stuff, it's kind of too much to go double. I don't like going double photo video for a wedding, because like if you're shooting a house, like you don't have to hold the kiss, you know, for my photo and then one for the video. Like but if you're shooting a house, you know, it's easy to just do one pass with this, one pass with that. So usually I just recommend a friend that I'm familiar with that does good video work or something, and they'll do that separately. But yeah, and we were chatting Better Buzz, and then as I've kind of grown, I think it's a combination of like getting a little bit older, and a lot of like my contacts are now like in charge of the marketing instead of like an intern and things like that. So that's an example, like with Better Buzz, a contact that I've had for a long time. She's now like the marketing manager at Better Buzz. So now every time they do like a new opening, we'll go shoot it for them. So like this is an example. This is a quick little example of some cool like time lapse stuff. Just filmed in regular format, but then sped up later. And I think this one, it's an easy shot. You just start low and then just go straight up and keep your subject in the box. See, and that's just like a slow pan time lapse. That's some speed ramping. Then these are normal cameras. It's kind of like, those FPV shots are cool, like with those little cameras, because they're not big, so you can just hold it and like be pulling stuff or whatever. But what they've been using these shots for are like, I've been talking with all of the like the marketing team and stuff at Better Buzz, and I'm like, what are you using these videos for? It's brand new building, brand new everything. So they want to feature it. And what they've actually been using them for now is like, they'll go into the bank like with a bunch of investors trying to get like a new loan to make more stores. And they're like, well, just so you know, like if you give us all this money, this is what we're going to make. And you see the brand new store and all of that like stuff. So I'm like, okay, now that I know that, I'm going to keep that in mind when I shoot these places.
At this point on your career, do you look for customers or customers kind of look for you?
I've pretty much been going all word of mouth coming to me at this point, just because I've been doing this for I think like 15 years now. So, and I've always just done this and only this. So I've built a network enough now that it's kind of been like word of mouth and getting passed around. But that's like unique to like where we live too. And I've lived here like my whole life because I've had some friends too that like recently moved. And it's like starting from ground zero again because all your contacts are gone. You don't know anybody. So I think he's been having a difficult time like kind of reaching out, but he's kind of had the most success, like we mentioned earlier, just starting out with who you do know and like your closest people that you do know and just being like, how can I be of service to whatever it is you do since we are in this network together, and then starting there, and then just one leads to another, because he hasn't had a ton of success like on cold calls, kind of as much as like linking up with people and shooting stuff like that. So I always recommend that, and then because once you get into like a little network, you get everyone's email from wherever you were at shooting. You send that out, and then you got like 10 new people. And then one of those people sends you on a job. You get a bunch of emails from that, send them all out the stuff, and then you have that, and then you just keep spreading by just doing things wherever you're at. So yeah. Any other questions?
I didn't want to interrupt earlier because they're great questions. And if this is all what you want for the next 15 minutes, this is awesome. We did the Instagram idea.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if 15 minutes
the time is
enough
going.
or not.
Yeah,
But,
no. Yeah, so yeah, we can do the quick little Instagram tutorial here. So basically what I'll do for a lot of these like little Instagram videos is I will just go out, I'll shoot the drone. I'll just do the whole thing right now. I can do it pretty quick. So you'll get your drone shots. I'll land the drone before I even turn it off. I'll have it. I'll turn off the remote because I don't need that. But then I'll just go into I'll get my phone. They all have an app like associated with the phone. So I'll go onto my DJ Fly app right here. And it pops up automatically. Once you've done it the first time, it'll come pretty quickly. You click on the DJI, it connects to the drone. So now I'm in. And then once you're in, you have access to the library of all the shots that you just took. So for the video stuff, usually what I'll do actually is I'll download the photos first because they're smaller files and they'll go pretty quick. So on the top, it organizes it all here, photos, videos, and then so I'll go to photos. I'll maybe get one, save it, and then this is just saving right to your camera roll when you do it. But so if you wanted to do a video, you just click on videos. I'll just do it for one of these clips. Oh, I was in Imperial Beach the other day, so I'll just do it for like this clip. 14 seconds. This is also, when you're shooting, it's good to keep your clips like within maybe a minute so that if you try to do this, it doesn't take forever to download. But so basically I'll just take this little clip. I think I had one right here actually that's kind of cool, 35 seconds. I'll hit download. And so it's like about halfway.
What it's going to do is I can put this on here real quick.
Oh, to plug your phone in?
And
Oh, fancy. Cool. Oh, that's great if it does that.
I don't know if it works.
Yeah, no, so once it downloads,
There we go.
oh, perfect. That's great. So I've gone in. I'll just do a quick little recap. But yeah, so this is the default screen right here that shows you all the clips that you just got. I'll go in. I clicked on this one. And nice. We'll go airplane. Oh, I can't go airplane mode because it's connected. But so I think I clicked on this clip just to download. And then when I was shooting this too, I was also kind of mindful of like, I would probably want to do this vertical. So when you're shooting, you just have to like imagine you're just only going to be seeing that in the end. So I've just downloaded the clip. It's all saved. And now all you got to do is bring it back into your photos. And then once you have it here in your photos, just like this, you can go edit, crop, and then hit on that. And then this is your crops. So I go from the original to just vertical. And then you can kind of center it up a little bit. Hit done. Once it's done, you're good to go. And then you have access to all these like little filters. This is the older, I think they've updated it. But then you can just click on these little filters. Just kind of gives it like a nice little color pop. Usually I do like vivid. And then it gives you all these other like little settings really quick, just to show you shadows, contrast, saturation. I'll just do a little saturation just to make it look good. And then you have your little clip just like ready to go right there. And then you can like rewatch it, but now it's in vertical format. And that's clip 1. So if I would want to start it, you're like, okay, let's start it like about right here. And let's end it like, I think I fly all the way out there. But we can end it just like right here or something. So it's like a decently shorter clip. Save. So now this clip is all saved, ready for a little post in vertical format, just like that. And what you would do is the same thing for the other clips that you get. So if you had a couple other clips like you wanted to stick in there, you would do the same process, download them while you're downloading all of them, and then give it the crop so it's all vertical, give it a little edit with a little color, and then, go ahead.
And share with the Instagram.
Yeah, and then you can easily come in on Instagram here and go just like this, pop it into a story, and then just click on this. It's ready to go. It's already vertical. You can say done, and you can like add like any like little song you would want to it, and you're good to go. And then if you wanted to do a reel or something like that, you would just have like extra little clips that and then you could just select this one, select this one, select this one, and then you have all your different shots all put together, just ready to go. So that's a really cool feature, like with the DJI drones, the app, and being able to download stuff so easily that you can just, before you even turn it off, like I land it, you're like, oh, let me download this, this, this. As long as your clips are decently short, like under a minute, it'll probably take like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to download. It'll show you the progress. And then, yeah, it's the DJI Fly app here. Let's see. Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, and that's like the main DJI app that is in the store.
The difference is when you're using your own drone, you'd be logged into your own DJI account as opposed to like a Southwestern College account. And so then then of course you already have that permission and that password on your phone, so it's really seamless that way.
Oh, so you can still download from because you have access to the app, and then you're able to download under the Southwest account. But yeah, downloading's downloading once you have it on your phone. Yeah.
If you try to do it with one of our drones, you'd be uploading to SWC's Instagram account.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, once you have that saved to your like native camera roll, you're kind of good to go. And then you can just do all your little edits just like that. So any questions on Instagram stuff or? Yeah, no, I've found that the editor on the camera is the best just because it's really easy. You just bring it in here and just that little crop tool right there. And then you can say like reset, and then it'll go back wide like that for you. And then you can just bring it in here and then go to this little vertical format. And then you have that. But I found that that's like a really easy thing to do because it's just ready to go for you. So because then when you go in to post your Instagram, all your little clips are already perfect, ready to go. And I found that like some of like if you're doing it on Instagram, it's a little funky and it'll kind of go slow and it might crash. But if you just do it natively on the phone, all your clips are ready to go, and it's pretty easy that way. So any other questions? Awesome.
As far as becoming a content creator, have you been that on Instagram?
Not officially, but I've always just used my stuff to just like post cool trips and stuff like that. Toyota has given me like a car or two to like take like to Mammoth and just like film some stuff and stuff like that. They have like designated like influencer cars. So I've gotten the call like once or twice. I think I got a little gallery like from stuff that I've done with them around here. Oh yeah, I'll get back to this guy. Thank you. Yeah, there was like a couple cool shots that I had from a long time ago. Like, oh, these are like lifeguard shots. We showed some of these last time. Toyota sponsors the San Diego lifeguards. So we'll go out there and get some nice lifeguard shots, line up all the trucks, make that all look good. And there was one cool little shot. Oh, some Padres. Oh, we were talking about eclipse.
Which beach was that?
There was an eclipse that day.
Which
This was at South Mission. Yeah. Yeah, these are all at South Mission. These were some drone shots from that. And I think they just needed photos, but I was like, you know what? If we're all out here, like, I'll get a couple videos. And then you can just get like, that's a good example of just like really low pans because there's no people around. It's just a wide open beach. So you can be hovering this high and just use it as like a gimbal instead of like having to like stomp through the sand and getting all these shots that are kind of bobbing because it's flying. You can just like get these perfect smooth.
So I saw those pelicans, so it just happened to.
That pelican shot, that was lucky. That was total luck right there. Like that. I think I had the drone on the ground about to take off, and I saw him coming, and I'm like, oh God, just record. And I just recorded and tipped the camera up, and those pelicans just fly by perfect like that. So some of it's just luck. Yeah.
Did they take the special area for you to take those shots, or is it an open area where people just walk by?
That was, I always just try to go like weekday morning, super early. And that way you get that front light so you can get the water just looking very like blue and like that. So like because the sun's like coming from the front, you get that perfectly blue light. Like if you shot this in like the afternoon, you get just a totally different look, which doesn't really let like the blues and the reds pop as much because it'd be like backlit. Like I think there's another thing in here like Forerunner. Oh, this was just a cool shot that I photoshopped that I kind of liked. But as far as that goes, it was Forerunner Mission Beach or something. It's on here, but it was just same spot, Mission Beach, but at sunset, so you could tell the like the difference in the lighting and stuff. But we were talking about some cool phenomena. This is a photoshopped eclipse, to be fair, because it wasn't lining up the way I needed it to. So I had like one shot. I think I got that shot from this shot, and then you take that, and I just kind of stuck it in there because it was like it was happening while I was shooting this. So I thought it was cool. I wanted to kind of incorporate it. But this is like just a sample of like some of the trucks they wrap. This was like a little trip that we did, like a little influencer trip. And then some of the other cars, they put these up around like the dealerships all in San Diego. So they wanted just like different cars that like hotspots, like San Diego hotspots kind of thing. So this was like all the San Diego State and some of the, they wanted some beach stuff. So these jobs are really fun because it's pretty much just me in the car with a bunch of cameras and you kind of just go pop around and do what looks good. This was another previous year with the lifeguards. And then this was just a bonus little thing I threw together for them because I shoot for all the San Diego State and all this. So they do all of this marketing and branding. They didn't even hire me for this, but I was like, I have all these shots for you guys. So I just put them all in a gallery so that they could have them.
Have you done any auto shows for Toyota? Auto shows?
For what?
Toyota. Auto shows for every year.
Oh yeah, I actually haven't done the auto show for them. Usually theirs are more like kind of like an activation or something that they have at like big events. But actually I think I do have an auto show, the Anaheim one, coming up for these guys. So I'll try to make that look cool. It's always way better when you're just like out in the sun and like the ocean, and it's always gets a little more tricky when you're in like a big dark convention hall trying to make it look good. So I usually just spend the night like writing iPhone notes on like what I can do, and I'm like, all right, I'll do this, and then I'll have a time lapse up here, and then sometimes you get so many cameras going that you're like just fried at the end of the day, and you walk away and there's like a GoPro just like hanging up there, and I'm like, gosh, shit, I gotta get my GoPro, don't forget that. But yeah, this was a cool little shot. They made these, they got one of my like sunset photos, and then they cut out all the little stuff to put them on these surfboards and stuff. That's kind of cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Any other questions or anything? Or awesome. That's our time, right? Or
Yeah, that's our time.
awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you all. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.